Hey everybody, have you ever had those mind-boggling questions in the back of your mind that you never really knew the answer to? Well, today we're gonna look at 23 of the most interesting questions on r/NoStupidQuestions on Reddit, and of course with a corresponding answer from both the comments and myself. Some of these are relatable, others are really just interesting, and some might actually shock you. So before we start the video, do make sure that you're subscribed, and without further ado, let's go. What free software is so good you can't believe it's actually available for free? So let's start strong with the point that I personally benefit from a lot, especially for content creation. It's nice to have free software. So OBS Studio or Open Broadcaster software is really amazing. Whether it's for streaming, making YouTube videos, or recording audio, I think there's a lot you can do with it. Simple to use and accessible to everybody. I really like 7-Zip as well for file extraction. There's Inkscape, Blender, PDF24 Toolbox, Wireshark, uBlock Origin, VLC Media Player, and so many more. So you can look up the post as well if you need more alternatives. Why don't we have a nocturnal society where all the night owls pick up where day shift left off? I mean, there's like quite a nocturnal society. You especially realize that when you go out in the evenings, there's just less people, of course, in the traffic and everything, right? So you would kind of think that there's no nocturnal society as you'd think. There are, of course, less jobs like job clerks or waiters, but more jobs that evolve around like places that need constant supervision. So security guards, power plant operators, and road construction, as there is low traffic during the night and less heat, but also cops, ambulance, doctors and nurses, because people still get hurt at night. There's probably a million that I've missed, but the world definitely doesn't stop at night. There's a lot that we tend to miss out, of course, so this kind of work just seems so invisible to us, which is kind of unfortunate because we kind of like, there's a lack of credit, you know, like towards them. So it's really just something that I think you can learn to appreciate. Does anyone else have this irrational fear of answering calls, no matter who's calling? So I used to work in a call center for a month and really just liked it. In time, this fear would go away, but here I am once more, just avoiding grandma's calls or telling my mom that I'm busy when, you know, I might actually not be. It actually gets worse with voicemails. Who even likes receiving those? Like listening to somebody rambling for 3 minutes, even though they could have probably talked for like a solid 30 seconds, or just texted it, is just so much easier for the recipients. How the hell am I supposed to know what I want to do with my life at 16 years of age? I think this is what goes around like most in our heads. Even at almost like 21, I am not sure where I exactly want to go in life. Whenever I like browse LinkedIn, for example, and I just see people that are just so much further in life, and even at a younger age, it really makes me just question because they seem like they've got everything figured out, you know? Just stick to something that really interests you and then go in a different direction if you lose interest. No one has any crazy expectations, nor should they. So just focus on being happy. Do you ever pull out your phone to check the time, but you have to do it again because you forgot or to look at the clock, or am I just stupid? Reddit user Tiny Pink Sparkles made a really good point in the comments, saying that more often than not, we check time in context, like for example, how long until this course is over? Then a minute later, we kind of like require another context and we feel stupid because we sort of just looked already. Why are banks only open while people are at work or school? Well, primarily to reduce operation costs. They've probably analyzed it enough to know to a degree that most customers actually come in the early morning. So there's customer demand, probably just because it's the industry standard. Most important customers can afford to come outside of these times, or because they can actually expect people apart from businesses arriving. Where the hell can you find broccoli in the wild? This silly little plant actually is man-made and stems from the Brassica oleracea. A family of flowers called the Brassicaceae, did I say that right? Consists of many popular vegetables like cauliflower, kale, sprouts, and of course, broccoli. How do you get out of bed every morning just to go to work? Well, simple, you don't. Sleep in and try the next day. Like what? No, but seriously. In order to consistently wake up every morning, the key is to have like a consistent sleep schedule and actually enjoy the things that you're doing. I've definitely had a side job or two that made me question my existence before getting out of bed, but as you scroll down the rabbit hole of Reddit comments, especially in this post, you realize that some people went on to find something that they actually enjoy. A life goal is to definitely do something that when you wake up, you'll feel energized and motivated. Does anyone else get struck by the realization that everyone around them is living their own life? All the time. A comment from user CSWizzle7 had an interesting quote from the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. But there in the background, fading out of focus, are the extras, the random passerby, each living a life as vivid and complex as your own. They carry on invisibly around you, bearing the accumulated weight of their own ambitions, friends, routines, mistakes, worries, triumphs, and inherent craziness. It feels relieving knowing that you're not the only one out there struggling with the bad or enjoying the good. Are cat bites fatal? Well, short answer, yes. Although cats don't tend to do that, they carry a specific type of bacteria with them. If they get deep into your skin, they can cause a tissue infection. So it's necessary to promptly look for medical attention. What is the dumbest hill you're willing to die on? Let's look at some quotes from various Reddit users. Steezen and Cheezen says, commercials should be required by law to be quieter than the show or movie. User Kipcake says, not everything needs to be an app, just take me to a flippin' website. And lastly, the most relatable one, document should be stapled at a 45-degree angle because that is the angle at which you fold the turned page. And babies drink water? If below 9 to 10 months, drinking water can be fatal. At times they'll be plenty hydrated and maybe don't even want any milk, although they need it. That can cause seizures, and especially at a young age, can be quite fatal as they especially are still developing. Why do businesses often have to close because the rent went up, but then the space sits empty for years with the landlord collecting no rent? Landlords, which are typically large corporate real estate companies, often hold these spaces empty, so they are hoping for some kind of chain store that will grant them a 10 plus years long lease that will properly maintain their facility well and spend a lot of money on improving it. Here's also a side-by-side comparison on a Louis Vuitton store that was established before and after. Does anyone go through a vicious loop of being productive and having a great routine for a few days to living like an absolute slob for the next few, rinse and repeat? We deserve a break now and then, and being harder on ourselves than necessary will most definitely extend this unproductive break. Sometimes I cut myself slack and don't go to the gym or do anything else because today's just been a really great day. It's also important to divide work up rather than exhausting yourself after just one short period of work. Why are people so worried when something smells fishy? So apparently, burnout sockets and plugs have a very fishy smell and are often the biggest cause of house fires. Check electrical outlets like extension cables and plug them out. To take this one step further, have you ever wondered why it smells of rotten egg? Well, that's the smell of propane that you get from a gas leak. So wait, now I know why it actually smells fishy in here. Am I the only one who thinks I look pretty decent when I look in the mirror and I like how I look, but then I look absolutely disgusting in picture and videos? User Angry Snake Noises explain it quite well. The main reason is camera angle and distance. Maybe it's just a poorly taken photo, maybe the settings weren't right. On the other hand, mirrors double the visual distance between you and the mirror. Say, 2 meters would become 4. Photos flat out, while mirrors are flawless reflections. How many consecutive days do I need to floss until a dentist can notice that I've never flossed in my life? I think that's around the time you stop bleeding. So if you floss consistently for a few weeks, then by the time the dentist can barely notice a distinction between long-term and mid-term. Pink tight gums are the goals, my friends. If you have diseases like mild gingivitis, flossing cannot remove it, as user Petmaster says. So if you need a good strategy on flossing, I would suggest just flossing in a shower. That's how I do it, and that's how it should be. Is it normal to read a few pages of a book and then suddenly realize that you have no idea what's going on? When I read through university slides or read a paper, I get quite lost at times. So this question may be relatable to some of you. It's healthy to just sometimes let your thoughts wander, and when you read, it's soothing to just take a break and maybe flip a page or two back. It commonly has a lot to do with interest, like if you read a book and feel expectations or excitement, it's quite easy to remember a lot of it. I realized this after graduating high school and actually reading more voluntarily. Things you want to read or know, be it fiction or just self-help books, are way easier to learn than chunky books on like finance law. Why is it so awkward to meet your cat in the wild? Well, as far as your cat is concerned, you're just work friends. So you typically don't associate your cat with being outside at times, but sometimes it can be quite different. Like you're going on a walk with your cat and it's just so eager to show you all the cool places it hangs out at. At the end, it's like meeting your teacher at a grocery store and freaking out like, why the heck are you here? Shouldn't you like take care of the numbers? Just to be clear, we all put our phones in our pockets, screen facing towards our bodies, correct? Unless I'm listening to a YouTube video, I have it facing towards me because I don't want to get damaged because of like a wall or a railing. So many users in the comment section actually do seem to agree that the one best way is to have your screen face towards your body.
Why are humans so shit at birthing?
According to human evolution, we evolved to walk upright instead of all fours, contrary to most mammals. That causes the hips to be much more narrow, which of course isn't ideal for giving birth. It was only when our predecessors actually discovered fire and cooked food that digestion became much easier and our stomach actually became smaller. Hence why most resources could be allocated to our brain, causing it to, of course, grow bigger. Evolution theory suggests that we are also early births, as we evolved that way because of like most births ending in miscarriages due to our heads just being too big.
Medical professionals, what's the number one thing you would advise to most people?
Okay, well, let's end it with a banger. The question you always need the answers to, a real jawbreaker. Well, not really a jawbreaker, because the first answer actually suggests that to walk away with your injuries, you should wear your seatbelt. That's crazy. Same goes for safety glasses. We should wear them when we have to. And I suppose if you really want an interesting point, let's listen to Momil 7. Before any major life-changing surgery, get a second option. And of course, do sports 3 times a week.